Well, you've probably heard the saying, this is the first day of the rest of your life. Well, today is the first day that I'm back in the office after my 2-month educational sabbatical. And I was thinking last week as I was working on the last parts of my dissertation that it might be good to do a video blog. It's something I've never done before, and I've been thinking a lot about perhaps using this kind of medium to communicate with our pastors in our churches. So it's a delight to be back, as it were, in the saddle today, and I'm looking forward to what will be the last 5 months of my tenure as the district superintendent. And we've got a lot of things that we'd like to still try to accomplish and complete before the term ends on the 31st of July. I want to reflect on a couple of things as I talk to you today. First of all, to simply say thank you to each one of you, and particularly the District Executive Committee, for the privilege you gave me of having a 2-month educational sabbatical. I want to talk in a moment about the things I learned, some of the things I learned on the sabbatical and the value it was to me. But thanks, Dexcom, and to each one of you for giving me this privilege. I'm also very grateful to Terry and Tim, who picked up some additional responsibilities the last 2 months. And some of you also know I engaged in a number of things that sort of still needed my engagement, but Tim and Terry really picked up some additional pieces, and I'm very grateful for that. Well, while I was on sabbatical, you know that the nominating committee announced their decision for nominee of the next district superintendent. And that makes me think of our district conference that is coming up very soon. Want to encourage you to complete your registration and get it sent into the office, and really think seriously about adding some lay delegates. This is the most significant conference that we've had in a number of years, as we will elect a new superintendent for the first time in 12 years. So we really would love to see a good representation of lay delegates. And speaking of your congregation and laity, we're going to provide you some tools in the next couple of weeks that you can use to invite people to the evening services, and especially the great Saturday morning communion service that we're going to hold at the Lancaster Alliance Church at 10:30 in the morning. That service will be an opportunity for me to give the charge to the new district superintendent and for him to speak to you as a conference for the very first time. And we want to have a great celebration that morning. And you'll want to have lay delegates and lay people from your congregation present. We're going to have a big mass choir and really celebrate what God has done as this transition has taken place in our district. Well, thinking about my sabbatical, many of you know that I spent a lot of the time working on my dissertation. And by the time you watch this video, the defense-ready copy of my dissertation will have gone to the first reader, the second reader, and to the dissertation advisor at Nyack College, Alliance Theological Seminary. And so on March the 27th, Lord willing, I will defend my dissertation and trust God that I'll be able to walk in the very first graduating class in the Doctor of Ministry program at Alliance Theological Seminary. I was just talking today to Dwayne Whelan, who's the vice chair of the trustees of Nyack College ATS, and we were commenting the fact that there will be a graduating class in the doctoral program is very exciting. It fulfills a vision of Dr. A.B. Simpson to see a Christian university established through the movement that he began. And it's taken a long time. But in May of 2014, that very first class will walk and receive their diplomas, and the steps will have been taken towards Nyack College, Alliance Theological Seminary, becoming truly a university. So pray for those who are in the program as they continue doing their work. Thinking about the dissertation makes me think about some lessons that I learned during the 2-month educational sabbatical. The first thing is I'd like to really encourage you as pastors to consider taking a sabbatical. I almost wonder if it's biblical that we should take a sabbatical about every 7 years or so. It was good for Janet and I to have time on Sundays to not have to hustle out the door to go to speak in a church. Not that we've minded doing that, but it gave us a new rhythm of being able to sleep in a little bit longer on Sundays and then to just more leisurely go and attend a service. We had the privilege of worshiping with some of you in your churches. We also worshiped in some non-Alliance churches as well during our time. It was just neat to come home on Sundays after the service and to have lunch together and just not feel the same sorts of stresses that we normally face. Now, on the other hand, I'm convinced that a sabbatical is a good time for spiritual growth and development. And one of the things that I really learned during the time working on my dissertation is the reality of dying to self. I said to someone, the thing that I've learned about a dissertation is that it really takes a significant strike at your heart. It was a week ago Friday that I received from the dissertation advisor at ATS what are called the corrections. Well, quite literally, they were suggesting significant adjustments to the third, the fourth, and parts of the fifth chapter, and even parts of the first chapter. And here was something that I had sweat and toiled over that was now being, as it were, torn apart. Well, I had a choice to make in that moment. I could kind of fall underneath the pain of it, or I could step up and say, nope, I need to keep pressing on with this. And I'm grateful for my first reader, Andrew Knisley, who just encouraged me to keep pressing on. And in that process, I was reminded of the fact that we are all called to die to self. And maybe it's not as an extreme situation as doing a dissertation, but a sense in which we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, where we literally are stripped of our identity and of our self-preservation and those things that seemingly make us feel like we're kind of together. Doing the dissertation made me feel on many occasions very much like I was back in kindergarten, trying to learn and to master something that was completely foreign, a language even that was foreign. And I think that's been a good process. Well, the last thing I want to talk about today is my next steps. So many of you have been praying for us. People have called here and said to Janet, we're praying for you. We wonder, what does God have for you in the future? And I want you to know we deeply appreciate your prayers. We deeply appreciate your concern for us. At this point, we don't have anything before us. We're not sure what exactly God has in store for us. We do know that He loves us and He has a plan for us. But the truth is we don't know what that's going to look like on the 1st of August. And so we are grateful for your prayers and thankful for your concern. And as we continue to go forward, we just ask you to be encouraged and hopeful as we are that the Lord will, in His time, reveal to us what that next step in the journey looks like. It's been a great, great privilege to share in this district. And probably the hardest part for us at this stage is simply beginning to say goodbye. The emotional energy that's connected to literally leaving behind what has been such a significant part of our lives. What a blessing to have served you in this district. And so as you begin now to get ready for Easter, I pray the Lord's blessing upon you. I know many of you have things like choirs and outreaches and cantatas and dramas, and I pray that you will just sense the Lord's blessing as you prepare for the celebration of the resurrection of the Lord on April the 20th. And we'll continue to dialogue and to engage with you as we prepare for the next stages in the journey together. God bless you.